Today is February 4th, 2023, and it's a very special day. I am in Greg's little tiny home. We haven't done anything with it yet, but this video is not about his tiny home. This video is going to be a little bit different because on February 4th of 2015 is the day that I adopted Greg. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then he's going to come out here and talk a little bit about it, and we'll put the two videos together and kind of see what we get. This is not, like I said, this is not a normal video for this channel. This is a homesteading vlog. It's a vlog of our life and learning how to homestead and become a little bit more self-sufficient. But definitely this is an important part of our life, so we chose to share it with you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I'm gonna have to give you a little bit of backstory for you to fully understand where we come from. Before I met Greg, I had talked to his caseworker about him, and she had gone over a little bit of his situation, not very much at all. Some of his diagnoses and behaviors and stuff like that, and his age and, you know, whatever. Not very much detail at all. But just by what she told me, I had decided that Greg would not be a good fit for my life. It wasn't what I was looking for. And I know that sounds horrible. It sounds horrible. But I want to be truthful. Greg, Greg is fully aware of all this. We've been through this. I've been honest with Greg from the very beginning. So, you know, when you date someone, you're looking for the right person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. When you pick friends, when you choose friends, you don't just choose friends that don't have anything in common with you. You know, friendships are developed and based upon common ground. And so Greg, I didn't feel would be what I was looking for in an adoption. So I told her that I wasn't interested. And then she asked me, and so coming into the conversation, I knew he was in a placement, or I thought I knew he was in a placement. I thought I knew what was going on. But apparently things changed very quickly. And so when I told her no, she asked if I could keep him a couple of days, just a couple of days, because he was, they closed the home that he was in, said it had nothing to do with him, but they closed that home because of something that foster home had done, and that there was another foster home he was supposed to move to clear across the state, which was Arkansas. But they had another foster home that was going to take him clear across the state, but they needed a couple of days to get ready for him. And so I said, sure. And so he moved in with both of us thinking it would only be a couple of days. And a couple of days turned into a couple of weeks, and then a couple of weeks turned into a couple of months, and, you know, here we are in 2023. By the way, he moved in. That was February the 17th of 2014. And so when he showed up at my door, it was another caseworker. It was someone I didn't know. I wasn't expecting him. I wasn't even really expecting them. That caseworker was supposed to call me back and set up a time, and she didn't. Just some man shows up at my door with his little boy. And Greg was 11. His birthday's in March, so that was February, so he's 11. And then the next month he turned 12. So he shows up at my door, and they kind of said, keep an eye on him, keep him away from sharps, and that's it. I didn't really find out much more until a couple days later. I got a little bit more on his health and behavior, and a little bit about where he came from, but not much. Not enough, to be honest with you. But so that first night, you know, I've got this little boy, and he was 11, but he was tiny. He seemed so tiny. I didn't know what to do, but food's always good. Food's always good, especially for little boys. So the first thing we did is we went to eat. I was living in Northwest Arkansas, and so we went to the Golden Corral, and then we went out to the mall. I don't know what I was thinking there on the mall. I really do not know what I was thinking there. That was a bad idea. But anyway, so we went to Golden Corral. It's a buffet, and we walked in, and I told him, I asked him if he'd been there before, and he said no. And I said, well, you get whatever you want. I said, you tell me what you want, I'll get it for you, but you have to eat it. I mean, you can get whatever you want, but you have to eat what you get. Don't get too much. And so, like, he took me literally. Like, he got like, I don't know, he got pizza and spaghetti and a couple of cakes and some pudding and some Jell-O and some the chocolate covered strawberries. I mean, he just had mounds of food in front of him, and you know, I let him do it. I told him, you can get whatever you want as long as you. And I don't know that he ate it. He might have eaten it. Before I adopted him, he ate pretty much everything I gave him. The day I adopted him, he got picky with his food, but he might have eaten all that. I don't know. But I remember sitting there eating, and I look up across the table at this kid, and I thought, he looks like Leave It the Beaver. So anyway, that was our first night. It was interesting, especially going to the mall, because he was very anxious at the mall. He didn't act anxious. He didn't tell me he was scared, but he was all over the place. If I wasn't watching him, he could wander off, just going after something else, just going to see something else, just fascinated by everything going on around him. And it was that way when, you know, when we went to fairs and stuff like that. But that first night, that was bad. So then after a couple of nights, the caseworker got back with me and said that home that was going to take him changed their minds. And she asked if I could keep him for a little while longer so that they can find a placement for him. And I told her I would. And so it was just me. I was in school, I was in college, but it was just me living in an apartment. There were no other kids. There was no one else. So yeah, I told her I could do that. And within the first couple of weeks, he asked me if I would adopt him. And I'm like, you know, well, first of all, I'm honest with him. I told him no. And I explained to him that he wasn't put into my home to be adopted. He was just placed there temporarily until they got him another placement. And he was, you know, all too familiar with that. But I asked him, I said, why? Yes, you don't know me. Why are you wanting me to adopt you? And he took a deep breath. He said, I just don't want to move anymore. He said, I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of going to a new home with new rules. I'm tired of losing my stuff every time I'm moved. And so, you know, I tried to, later that night, I thought about what he said, and I tried to put myself in that position. And at that time, I didn't even know how many placements he had been in. I don't think I even knew how long he had been in foster care. I don't know. But I tried to put myself in that position, and I couldn't hardly stand it. I couldn't imagine not having anybody in my life. I mean, even abusive parents, even hard relationships. He didn't have a friend. He didn't have a family member. He didn't have a home. And like I said, I don't think I knew at the time how bad it was and to what extent. But he came into foster care when he was 3. And he's been alone since he was 3. I couldn't sleep. And I eventually came to him and told him, and that wasn't the first time he asked. He asked a few times, and you know, I thought about it, and I told him, look, I can't adopt you, but you can stay here in foster care as long as you want. And honestly, when I said that, I meant it. I really meant it. But I didn't think that he meant it. I thought he would want to leave eventually. I thought he would get mad and move, because it happens often. They do that often at that age. Even biological children get mad at their parents and want to leave, and some of them do leave. Some of them run away. And so I really didn't think that he would still be here today. Like when I said that, I didn't think he would, even though I meant it, I didn't know he did. And so I told him, you know, you can stay here as long as you want to, but when you quit wanting to stay here, then you've got to go. And he said, okay. He did continue to ask me to adopt him. And, you know, but, this isn't easy to talk about. So it wasn't very long. I mean, it was actually really quick that I came to a point where I felt a heavy responsibility for him. Overwhelming responsibility for his well-being, for protecting him. I don't think there wasn't an attachment yet between us two, even on my end. You know, an attachment, a mother-son attachment, but an overwhelming responsibility for his emotional and physical well-being. And so, as the days and months went on, I eventually told him that I have decided to adopt him, and he was like in disbelief, really, and me too. So he's like, really? So you're gonna adopt me? And a few days later, you're really gonna adopt me? So yeah. And I remember once I told DHS, they began getting the paperwork together, and there wasn't much to it, because he'd already been with me 11 months at that time when I told him, I think, maybe 10. I think 11, but I began to feel anxious, wondering if I was making the right decision, because it is like forever. Like, for me, that's what it is. I don't know how other parents look at it, but for me, the adoption thing, that was a final deal, that's forever, right? And I began getting anxious. What if the paperwork doesn't go through? I've made this decision in my heart. I've made this commitment in my heart and in my mind. And what if something goes wrong? What if something doesn't go wrong and we go through with this? Like, I was just like a nervous wreck. And the day of court, I was nervous. And he was nervous. I could see it. Like, he was really nervous. He walked into court with his hands up like this, both of them. He walked in like a little toddler, really. He walked in like a little toddler and sat down beside me and leaned up against me, and there was no room between us. And I remember the judge asked me if I wanted to adopt him, and I said that I did. And she turned to Greg and asked him, did he want to be adopted by me? And he nodded his head yes. And it was pretty much a done deal from there. After court, of course, everybody got pictures. The caseworker wanted pictures with us, and the CASA workers wanted pictures, and of course we got the picture with the judge and all the family and everything. We went to my parents' house. And they brought in a cake. And it said, welcome welcome to the family. Sorry, I gotta get myself together. It said, welcome to the family, Lorie Gentry. And he stood there and stared at that cake. We got a picture of that cake, and he'd look at the picture. What's amazing to me, anytime he went to write his name, anytime somebody asked him what his name was, he never got it wrong. He never accidentally called me Lorie. Once he started calling me Mom, he never got angry and called me something else except Mom. And I'm amazed at that.
Alright, so when I first came to Mom's house, I did not know I was... Alright, when I first came to Mom's house, I was at another foster home, and there's this place called a respite house where if the family goes on vacation, the foster kid goes to that house for however long they are there on vacation. So I went to a respite house, so I thought that they were just going somewhere, and went to school, came out, thought that the guy that dropped me off was going to pick me back up, but it was a DHS caseworker. And then he took me to Mom's house. Didn't know where I was going, nothing. Just dropped me off. So when I came to Mom's house, I was nervous, scared. I was very young. I was 11 years old. I had been in foster care since I was 3 to 12 when I was adopted, but till Mom's house I was from 3 years old to 11, going from home to home, placement to placement, because I only went to like just so many homes, but like almost doubled the placements. So when I came to her house, I was unsure that if this was going to be my forever home or just another placement until I went somewhere else. Then she took me to Golden Corral, and that was like my first time ever going to a Golden Corral. And I had no limitations, so I just ate desserts, pizzas, spaghetti, that's it. Those 3 items, I just went back for more and more. It was a blast. I loved Golden Corral, especially then, because, you know, I didn't get to eat that type of stuff that much. So when I came to Mom's house, shortly after I came to Mom's house, I asked her to adopt me. I am not sure if that was the first time I've asked anyone to adopt me, or if I've asked every house I've came to adopt me. I asked her to adopt me because I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted one place to be, and that was it. I didn't want to move anymore. I was tired of moving. A lot of times when I moved, not all my stuff came. So like I would lose kind of sometimes important stuff. Luckily I have been able to keep a hold of several things that I cherish, like my photo albums of when I was young. And so when we went to the court to finalize it, before we went, I was old enough to where I had to sign a paper saying that I wanted her to adopt me. And that was an exciting moment. When the day of court arrived, it was really exciting. The judge there, I've been to that court multiple times for several different reasons. Sometimes I don't even remember. But that was my favorite judge because she would allow me to go back and pick a toy or something when I was in foster care. But that day, I got a stuffed animal. And I got to name it. But I was also nervous because there was other people there. And it was always nerve-wracking going to the court. So after court, we go home, and there was they threw a party for me to welcome me into the family. I don't remember much about that, except that all of the immediate family was there. I do remember that. There was cake. I definitely remember that. And I have no regrets for asking Mom to adopt me.
We'll just have to keep the light on. There we go. Where are we?
Sonic!
There is not a golden corral where we live, anywhere close. We'd had to go a long way to get to a golden corral. So Greg and I and Tara are at Sonic to celebrate today. And Tara is Greg's dog. So, do you know what you're getting? Greg's gonna place the order because
So
I don't want
5-piece.
The small, whatever the small is.
That's a 3-piece.
I want a 3-piece. What do you want, Tara? Oh, she needs what?
5-piece.
5-piece what? Greg, you want a large shake and a 5-piece and a snack?
So I'll just 3-piece. What do you want, Tara?
She wants a large tater tot.
Got it.
You gotta tell me when she's coming or somebody's coming. Let me know when it.
You almost didn't get your large tater tots, Tara.
Okay, why don't you tell them about when you got Tara.
So I was 14 years old, Tara.
You can tell the story.
I was 14 years old when I got this, Tara. Her name is Tara because the patch is like Earth. The patch.
Tell her the name that we saved her from.
No. We will not speak of that. So I was 14 years old when I got Tara. She was 6 weeks old when I got her. Because they wouldn't allow Mom to adopt any of the dogs until they were 6 weeks old. And so I had...
That was a pound.
Well, the pound, yeah.
Or animal shelter. I don't think they call them pounds anymore.
I kind of pinpointed her birthday to be around January 27th. So Tara is 7 years old now.
You forgot something very important in
What?
the story. You got her for your birthday.
Oh yeah, she was my 14th birthday present.
Take the blindfold off.
It's so cute. Hello.
It's a girl. She's got boxer in her. Okay, so we've got our sugar that's gonna cause me to crash here in a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead and close out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We pushed start for you to eat.
Sorry. Alright guys, thank you for listening to our story. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you don't miss another one of our videos.
Got you. Got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you.